And good evening, everybody. Welcome to this post-draft edition here of the Man of Steel podcast. As we get ready to review the Pittsburgh Steelers' final review of their several selections in the 2023 NFL Draft, as we also take a look at some of the picks within the AFC North Division, and also we had some quarterback moves, signs and movings last week, and we'll get into that in just a little bit. But good evening once again. I am Charles Richey. You can follow me on Twitter at MassSteelCGR and on Instagram at MassSteelNation. Omar Khan, the con artist, as the new nickname has been given to him so far this year, which Mike Tomlin seems to dig so far. But here we go. The sum of this year's draft, the Steelers, they select 4 players on defense and 3 on offense. Now, his first year on the job alongside Andy Weil managed to stay patient and be a little aggressive in the first round, fair enough. He resisted the temptation to draft a skill player, which would be usually in the past under Kevin Colbert, which would be quarterback, running back, or wide receiver. For the first time in 38 years, they stay focused on areas that needed more attention. And remember, as I was doing the podcast here on Saturday, we recapped the 4 picks that they had in the top 100, and they only moved twice within that span, and where they moved up from the 17th to the 14th overall spot. They sent them with the New England Patriots, in which they also sent them their 4th round, 120th overall pick. And going into that draft, especially, the speculation was going to be, were they going to trade up from the 32 spot or the 17th spot? Well, instead, they elected up on opening night, moved up 3 spots. And then as that night concluded, a lot of people were expecting the Steelers to get a lot of inquiries about that opening pick of the 2nd round, which was the 32nd pick. And there was some teams definitely on report seem to be interested, such as the Raiders and others. And as more got closer and closer to the draft, kept checking up on Twitter, social media, still no update. The Steelers ended up standing pat, and they took Joey Porter Jr., quarterback out of Penn State. He is the son of the course, no secret about it. Steelers legendary outside linebacker Joey Porter. And so the only other move, like I mentioned, at the conclusion of their top 100 picks, they moved down from the 80th spot to the 93rd spot with the Carolina Panthers. But they were able to get back a 4th-round pick at 132nd. So they got their 4th-round pick that they gave to the Patriots. Instead, just it was only like 12 more spots higher than what they initially were, so it was 132nd. And with that pick, they selected outside linebacker Nick Herbig. But let's go ahead and get into it. Like I said, right now, Nick Herbig, who was the 132nd overall pick. The cool thing about him right now, at 6'2", 240 pounds, he may not be the typical size for a Steelers outside linebacker. Then again, near was James Harrison. This is, of course, from Jerry Dulac of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. He gave a pretty nice review, high marks for Omar Khan. He said that Herbig, though, is tough and aggressive and played in the Wisconsin defense that is very similar to the Steelers. Now, the cool, unique thing about Herbig, too, he could play in or outside for the Steelers with his aggressive nature, overcoming his slight build. And I think this was a solid pick right here. I just only felt like, the question was, too, if I had to do over, I mean, the top 100, like I said, I think there's no argument right there what they made. But I think when you look at it, too, I mean, they got a real big and nasty tight end, too, that can really be a surprise for this year, too, to fit in with Freiermuth. Connor Hayward, like to see how he does in year number 2. Cam Hayward's little brother. But when you look at it, too, I mean, they finished the night of the top 100, selecting Darnell Washington with the 93rd overall pick out of Georgia. And all the picks they made, with the exception of the very last one, for this year's draft, had instant starter grades or should become instant starters. I mean, which is very significant, I think, right there too. That tells me a lot right there. I mean, you're grabbing like a lot of the top talent right there while addressing your areas of need. And Mike Tomlin, right there, or Todd, excuse me, said, uh, quite frankly, too, I can't wait till we get to rookie minicamp in a couple of weeks and really see our new Steelers in action, Khan said. And then, of course, I mean, when you look at it too, I mean, the rest of the picks right there, I mean, they had about three more picks, which was wrapped up on Saturday. It was the fourth round pick, like I said, at 132nd, Nick Herbig, who they got from the Panthers when they originally traded with the Patriots to move up in the first round. But like I said, the next pick, which was the first or seven round pick, 7A, you could say, quarterback Corey Trice of Penn State right here. So you got another quarterback right here on this draft right here. And looking back at it too, they said this might have been a good place to draft a slot corner, but the Steelers were more interested in finding guys who could come to the line of scrimmage and disrupt receivers from getting into their routes. This is what Trite does best. He is a big 6'3", 206 pounds, physical corner who excels at press coverage and can run 4.474 yard dash. Along with Porter, he gives defensive coordinator Terry Austin a pair of tall quarterbacks who make it difficult for quarterbacks to throw over. And I gotta like this so far, to be honest with you. This is going to be really interesting right now, because especially too when you look at like the key losses too. I mean, basically, and here's the thing too. I mean, you look at the Steelers right now too. I mean, here's the thing. I mean, the last 2 years. I mean, Joe Hayden retired. I mean, a year ago with due to a foot injury, which he suffered during a tight knit win. Pretty much lost wins in the 2021 season were close down to the wire. But that was versus the Titans right there. He eventually had to retire due to his foot injury, Joe Hayden. And then, of course, this year, losing Cam Sutton to the Detroit Lions in free agency right there. Here's the verdict at the end of the day. I mean, when you look at the Steelers right now and what they were doing, I mean, basically, I mean, especially in their playoff drought losing streak right there. And Joe Hayden was nice, but here's the thing though, him or Cam Sutton did nothing in the playoffs. Bottom line is, I mean, when you look at it, like too, like especially in Joe Hayden's like first year, I mean, they were fifth in pass defense right there. I mean, him being a veteran presence right there, who were they able to pick up from the Cleveland Browns, who they released at training camp. But here's at the end of the day, too, like I said, two out of the four quarterbacks they lost to were Hall of Fame quarterbacks, and the ones in between were Blake Bortles and Baker Mayfield, who's still a little bit middle of the road right now in his career right now. He's supposed to be succeeding Tom Brady in Tampa right now, trying to give him their go right now as they try to transition life beyond him after delivering a Super Bowl and a pair of playoff appearances each year. He was there in his 3 seasons with Tampa Bay. But I mean, think about it. I mean, Joe Hayden only had one pass deflection. I believe it was in 2 playoff games. And Cam Sutton, for the most part, too. I mean, where is he at? I mean, he didn't really do much either. Zero interceptions right there. I mean, contributed immensely to a defense that was allowing over 40 points a game. And remember, Joe Hayden and Cam Sutton were not there in the New England blowout AFC Championship loss. I mean, of course, they got those guys like the following season, and which is still to this date. I mean, you're trying to snap right now a 7-year playoff losing streak right now. 7 years, 4-game losing streak. I mean, even look against the Browns right there in that first year of COVID right there. I mean, Cam Sutton only had one pass deflection, no interceptions, only 2 total tackles in that game, unacceptable in my opinion for a Steelers secondary right there. Who once again, I mean, the year 2020, third in the league in passing defense, and then you go. I mean, the last time they were in the playoffs, they're ninth in passing defense. And of course, I mean, you're not. I mean, you're getting ready to get lit up against Patrick Mahomes. But still, even in this game right here, I mean, when you had Cam Sutton right there in that game, zero pass deflections, but only five total tackles. That was disheartening. Now, can guys like, when you look at Joey Porter Jr. and then, of course, Corey Trice right now, can they be like the difference makers if the Steelers, as expected right now by people, get back to the playoffs, which they should? I mean, can they really be contributors right there at the end of the day to like have a lockdown defense right there? I think it'll definitely be interesting right there. I mean, for this improved secondary. I mean, given the fact you still got Mika Fitzpatrick as your free safety. I mean, you no longer also got Terrell Edmonds too as your strong safety. But I really feel like right now, I mean, the Steelers, they'll be fine defensively during the regular season. I just feel like at the end of the day, Joe Hay and Cam Sutton, they were great Peyton Mannings of the regular season. But when it came to the playoffs, not really much to show for it. Bottom line. And I enjoyed having him there, but I just still feel like when you get to the playoffs and you're still getting harassed in that area, it's not acceptable anymore. Sorry. Love having him here, love having him in uniform every Sunday, but at the same time, something needed to change. And I just hopefully this would be the thing that we're looking for right there. Especially no excuse when you're giving up that many yards, especially now Blake Porter still threw for over like around 215 yards, I believe, in the playoff loss to the Jaguars, but then you still got lit up by Baker Mayfield, who had excellent quarterback rating too. And of course, remember Ben Roethlisberger turning over the ball. I mean, five times, four interceptions in that game. Yeah, you gotta find a way to do a better job in that area, and hopefully that will ring true. Now, on Corey Trice of Penn State, I mean, like I said, they feel like it was a good place to draft a slot corner, but they're interested in finding guys who come to the line of scrimmage and disrupt receivers from getting into their routes. This is what Trite does best. 6'3", 206 pounds, physical corner who excels at press coverage and can run 4.47 4-yard dash. Along with Porter, he gives defense coordinator Terrell Austin a pair of tall cornerbacks who make it more difficult to throw over. Now, of course, I mean, that'll be very fun to see what they do, what they could scheme up with, especially under defense coordinator Terrell Austin right there. Now, their last pick, too. Steelers, they get another guard in here. So you get excuse me, not another guard, another offensive lineman, a guard. So they get a tackle, tight end, and a guard as far as their offense goes. I mean, all these picks definitely arguable right there where these guys could block or pass block or pick up blitzes too. I mean, basically. So real good right there. I mean, especially in those categories. Spencer Anderson of Maryland, he has good size, decent athleticism, and should land on the roster as a swing tackle. Basically, and that was according to Mel Kiper Jr., who's also evaluating this. So let's go into like my favorite and least favorite picks of this year's draft. I think the favorite pick right here, I mean, that has me gushing still, is quarterback Joey Porter Jr. of Penn State. I mean, let's just forget the size that he has the ties from Joey Porter. I mean, which is definitely huge right there. But he gives the Steelers exactly what they need, an outside corner who's tall, long enough to cover the top receivers in the division, particularly Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Now, when you look at, I mean, right now, Patrick Pearson, who they also got in free agency too, who's an established vet, will be the perfect mentor for Joey Porter Jr. and their other quarterback, Corey Trice Jr. Patrick Pearson, he's entering his 12th season right there. I mean, to mentor guys like them, especially Porter and Trice. I think it will definitely be fun to see because that is key right there too. I mean, offense is the name of the game, but at the same time too, if you can find guys right now to like disrupt that and kind of lock down right there, that is definitely going to be a huge key right there in itself for those teams. They could continue to make strides on the defensive mark to get back on track. Now they did have a first round grade on him, but guard Broderick Jones of Georgia, he needed to happen for the first time in 27 years when he last selected a tackle. Jermaine Stevens of North Carolina, A&T. That was when the Steelers were defending AFC champions, coming up short in Super Bowl 30 to the Dallas Cowboys. So that was right off the heels of that season. And Jones may not be the starting left tackle when the season opens, but as a number one pick, it will only be a matter of time, just like it was last year with Kenny Pickett. I think my least favorite pick of this year's draft was guard Spencer Anderson of Maryland. And he was the last pick of the draft. And the only reason why I say that, because you look at all these grades right here, with the exception of Spencer Anderson right now. Now, chance to become an NFL starter, don't get me wrong, but this is more like a developmental guy right here at the end of the day. This one you may end up seeing on a practice squad. I mean, coming up when you look at it. But I think for right now, I think this roster is definitely be loaded with some depth right here at the end of the day. And then, of course, a couple like some of the targets they were getting in free agency too. I mean, up to this point, I mean, just filling up their needs right here. And we what the Steelers been doing under Omar Khan and Andy Weil, the first year experiment, life without Kevin Colbert. And I think a lot of Steelers fans right now will appreciate the aggressiveness. I mean, what do you think so far? Do you like the aggressiveness right there, moving up and what they had to do, trading down? Were they a little too aggressive? Do you still like the formula that they use traditionally where they don't mess with a lot of their draft capital to get players or to move up? But if you really think about it too, in the last 20 years, it's the fourth time they were able to trade up in the draft. Of course, 2003 when they moved up to select strong safety Troy Polamalu, basically. I mean, that was back in 2003. Of course, I mean, two Super Bowls, Super Bowl, I mean, excuse me, Defense Player of the Year right there. And then, of course, uh, Pro Football Hall of Famer. So they went from 27th to 16th. They trade up 11 spots. Then, of course, 2006, as defending Super Bowl champions, getting that one for the fun. Bill Cowher's last year as head coach, which would prove to be. They moved 7 spots from 32nd to 25th to select wide receiver Santonio Holmes. And then prior to this one, 4 years ago, they moved up 10 spots to at number 10 overall to grab inside linebacker Devin Bush, who is now with the Seattle Seahawks. Things did not pan out very well up until he had the knee injury, basically. And there you have it right there. But I mean, the Steelers right there. I mean, you look at like I said, the additions right here, what they've been making free agency right here. Isaac Sayamolo right there. I mean, he's one of their guards right there. I mean, as far as like the offense lines, we continue to look at it right now. And then you look at the other offensive lineman here, another guard, Nate Herbig, who is the brother of Nick Herbig of Wisconsin right there. I mean, you just look at it right here. They also got right here too. I mean, they also got LaRavion Clark from the Titans. I mean, so this team has definitely been really concentrating right here on the line of scrimmage on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. And I think right there too, like let's also take a look at two right now from their fourth pick in the draft. I didn't get a chance to expand that much. I believe I did a little bit on, or their third pick, excuse me, on Saturday's podcast. But Keanu Benton right here, defense tackle of Wisconsin. They got two players from Wisconsin as well as two from Georgia in this draft, basically. But I gotta tell you right now, Keanu Benton, I'd be really interested to see how he's be picking the brain of guys like Cam Hayward and of course Larry Ogunjobi, who anchor that defensive line. Now, Cam Hayward, who's primarily played most of his career as defensive end, he has been playing more defensive tackle the last 3 seasons, pretty much. But I think Isaac Salamalo right here, that was a question mark by Mel Kiper Jr. in this one. He was a little bit baffled on that one. Uh, that one for the Steelers right there. I mean, of course, I mean, Riddick, he was liking them right there. And for Kuiper too, I don't mind following. I mean, definitely be a little bit of a hardball when it comes to the Steelers, but to be honest with you, I mean, it's fair, and it's definitely decent. Now as far as Keanu Benton, he was saying Benton's trades didn't match his college production, but if he keeps developing some pass rush moves, uh, he could be a 3 down player. He was a slight reach on his board, basically. So that one still taking some time to convincing for why the Steelers selected Benton with their 49th pick in the draft. But he did also go on to mention too with Darnell Washington. He dropped because of some medical concerns, but he'll step into the NFL as one of the league's best blocking tight ends. If he could up his game as a pass rusher, he could be a steal. And the picks pretty much that Mel Kiper loves. I mean, it was like on the first 2 days of the draft. I mean, they grabbed Braddock Jones at 14, and then Joey Porter Jr. pretty much. So there you have right there, and he give the Steelers overall a B+. For me, for this grade on this year's draft, is there such a thing as a B triple plus? That's what I'm gonna give. I'm not ready to give this pick necessarily an A. I mean, a lot of people. I mean, like NFL Network pretty much gives the Steelers like an A. I mean, then you also have like, of course, Jerry Dulac an A. I mean, especially just what they did in their top 100 picks, pretty much the first 2 days of the draft. But for me, I gotta give it a B. I just feel like right there because the only moves I'm questioning right there, like I said, when you look at this closely, is going to be Keanu Benton and Spencer Harrison. Other than that, I have no problem with this draft. Now, when you look at the post draft power rankings, let's take a look at it right now. Pittsburgh Steelers are 15th right there. They're previously 15th in free agency rankings, according to NFL.com's post draft power rankings. They're 15th. They did not move anymore. NBC Sports, they were 14th in free agency. They dropped down one spot to 15 in their rankings right there. Pretty much. And then of course you also got like the Athletic, another one too, who's also looked at the Steelers right there. And I believe they have them in the top 10. Just confirm here. But yeah, I think like I said, this is all in all a great weekend for the Steelers right here as far as what they were able to do. And it's just really just what they've been able to manage here. I mean, other Omar Khan. Now, I will just blow close to the wind. Just say this right now. When we look at it, I mean, this is a good. Looks like a team of paper champions. Pressure's gonna be on now, especially more in particular for Matt Canada on the offense right there. He's got a lot of pieces he's looking for, especially with the run blockers right there. But I mean, yeah, I think for right now, I mean, this year's draft, according to Athletic, they got the Philadelphia Eagles as the winners of this year's draft. GM Howie Roseman appears to have delivered once again, ranking one quality pick after another. Roseman devoted much of his team's draft resources to retooling defense that has a number of key contributors in free agency. Now, the Pittsburgh Steelers, as far as the Steelers going into it right now, they do say that they understand the importance of winning in the trenches. Steelers first added a talented offensive tackle in Broderick, and then drafted one of the best blocking tight ends available in Darnell Washington. So, I mean, he's the Steelers right there, as far as like winners, they're third in that list. So very phenomenal job right there. A lot to be happy with. Now let's get back to the thing at hand right now too. Like I mentioned, the quarterback deals that happen right there too. When you look at it, I mean, this year, Aaron Rodgers finally getting traded to New York Jets. Jets. That happened earlier in the week of the draft, right there, prior to the draft. I mean, when you look at it, I mean, the Green Bay Packers, they traded Aaron Rodgers along with their 15th overall pick. So they moved up two spots with the New York Jets in the draft at 13th, from 15 to 13. Plus, they also traded their fifth round pick, 170, and in return from the Jets, they got their 13th overall pick, second round pick at 42, and then they also got their seventh round pick, which was 207th, and an additional second round pick. As long as Aaron Rodgers plays 65% of his snaps, could turn into a first round pick, which was pretty significant right there. I mean, when you look at it, I mean, it was definitely very good right there. I mean, for what the Packers were able to expect right there. I mean, for that. So, like I said, they got their 13, 42, and 207 pick, along with an additional second round pick, which is inevitable to become an additional first round pick as long as he plays most of his snaps. Should be a no brainer that he does. And with Aaron Rodgers' contract too, by the way, he for right now this year he is still going to be guaranteed $150.815 million dollars. Who's got like 3 years left on his deal, 150.815, all of which is guaranteed. And big shout and congratulations right there too. I was one of the people that was very skeptic. Former MVP Lamar Jackson, who finally gets his deal right now. 5 years, 260 million, 185 million guaranteed. So his guaranteed money right now is ranks second, which is ahead of Jalen Hurts, still behind Deshaun Watson, who gets all of his guarantee of $230 million. So congratulations to him right there. I mean, when everything was looking ugly, when it was talking business last year, throughout the season, during the playoffs right there, and especially questioning too, if he would have got paid, would he have tried to gut out and played in the playoffs versus the Bengals on the road in Cincinnati? But I tell you what, I mean, it's no secret what they did to move up and grab this guy at the end of the first round 5 years ago. And glad to see that get done. It's going to be annoying to have him around, but at the same time, you know what? Best got to go up against the best. And that's going to do it for this edition here of the Man of Steel podcast. Once again, you guys can follow me on Twitter at Man of Steel CGR and on Instagram at Man of Steel Nation. Once again, I'd like to hear your feedbacks, comments right there. What'd you think? Do you like the little new shakeup and the makeover of the Steelers right here? Is Omar Khan being a little bit too aggressive? And do you guys feel like a Super Bowl is in the near future? I probably say give it about 2-3 years at the latest for this team where they could legit look like a Super Bowl contending team. But of course, first they got to snap their playoff losing streak. Let me know. Again, as always, leave you. Don't be trolling, be rolling. Here we go, serious. Here we go. I gone. Thank you for watching the Man of Steel podcast with your host, Charles Prodigy Richey, here on YouTube. Please make sure to hit that subscribe button. And for all the latest Man of Steel podcast episodes, feel free to download them on Mixcloud, Anchor.fm, and SoundCloud, wherever you get your podcasts.